the number 1 versus the number 4 ranked team, which is the game I really can't wait to see. We have Michigan. We have number 1 Michigan versus we have number 1 ranked Michigan versus number 4 ranked Alabama. This is really what I wanted to get off into. So Michigan, out of all the teams, Michigan has the 106th ranked offense. They're 14th in points scored and 36.7. They average 218 pass yards a game, which is 125th. They average 161 rush yards a game, which is 100th. Their defense is 5th overall. They're giving up 257 yards per game, which is ranked 5th. They're giving up 152 pass yards a game, which is ranked 9th. And they only giving up 87 rush yards per game, which is ranked 10th. They're 74th in points allowed. Bama is 65th in ranked offense, 425 total yards per game, 228 total pass yards per game, which is 101st ranked. They have 172 rushing yards per game, which is ranked 79th. Bama has the 62nd ranked defense, and they're giving up 330 total yards per game. They're only giving up 188 pass yards per game, which is 64th, and 124 rush yards per game, which is 69th. They're 144th in points allowed. Some big wins by both teams. Bama's big wins were against or ranked wins were against Ole Miss, Tennessee, LSU, and Georgia. Michigan's only ranked wins were against Penn State, Ohio State, and Iowa. So I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go first, Ryan, because you are definitely more the college expert. I watch just as much college as you do, but you know more about college than I do. So I'm gonna let you take this one first, bro. How you feel about this game?
Michigan has a legit chance to get steamrolled yet again in a playoff game. Just from a defensive standpoint of Alabama, I don't think their passing scheme is complex enough to trick the Alabama defenders. Can they get some chunk plays? Sure. I feel like the real test in this ball game is going to be Michigan's defense and Alabama's offense.
Yes.
Can Jalen Milroe make the right decisions early on in the game? And if he does that, can he continue to do it? And then can Michigan's defense capitalize on mistakes and minimize chunk plays from Alabama's offense? To me, that is going to be what sets the tone for this game and who we see go to the national championship game.
I agree. I also want people to take into consideration, coming from somebody who's watched a lot of Big Ten football over the last few years, from a former Michigan State fan. Michigan does not play anybody that's an offensive juggernaut. They don't play any in the Big Ten. The Big Ten has never been known as a conference to have teams outside Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan. There are no teams in the Big Ten that really have offenses that keep you up at night, that scare you, that you really have to run any crazy schemes against. So, of course, their defense is they're going to have a high-ranked defense. Not to mention, Michigan is also known as a predominantly they're a run-based team. So a lot of teams will stack up the box and try to defend against the run, which is why J.J. McCarthy slices and dices from the backfield. But outside of Iowa, Ohio State, and Penn State, they don't play anybody. Minnesota, what the fuck has Minnesota done in the last few years? What the fuck is Rutgers? That's about it. What the fuck has Rutgers done in the last? Maryland, they don't play anybody that really poses a threat on defense. So and if you saw the reaction, I really don't think they wanted to get Alabama. We all know this. They did not want to get Alabama. So I'm not gonna sit up here and say they're gonna get steamrolled, but I don't think this game is gonna be as competitive as people think it is. Like you said, I definitely want to see how Jalen Milroe reacts to the defense and the pass rush of Michigan. And I want to see how J.J. McCarthy and I'm also kind of excited to see, because Blake Corum was not healthy last year in the college football playoff game. So I want to see what he does in this maybe it's kind of a revenge game because he didn't get to play last year. But I mean, they are playing Bama, and we all know how well coached and how well that Bama's defense always plays. So I'm hoping Jalen Milroe can show more of his improvement, and he can make his reads like he has been making from from the Texas loss on. But I'm definitely taking Bama in this game.
Same.
I got Bama. Give me Bama. I'm gonna go high scoring, man. Give me Bama 49-26.
Give me Bama 55-21.
Okay. I ain't mad at that.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be close in the first half, and then
Bama
about halfway through that third quarter, it's gonna be like, oh boy, yeah.
It's like looking good. And then Harbaugh gets fired.
No. You motherfucker, you beat Ohio State 3 years in a row, and then you go to the playoffs 3 years in a row.
Yeah, but you couldn't get anywhere outside the playoffs. No, I'm just kidding. You're the Dallas. You are the current Dallas Cowboys of the college football playoff, which we're gonna talk about them later.
I think is it 14 or is it at like the last 19 national champions, 15 or 17 of them has been an SEC champ?
You would know better than I would.
I mean, like something crazy like that. So like, if you're a team that's not in the SEC, you have to be built like an SEC team.
Yeah.
So like, okay, we're gonna see.
Yes, we will. Now moving on to a game that I think is going to be much more competitive. We have number 3 Texas versus number 2 Washington. I got to flip over to my notes. My bad. Texas is 11th ranked in offense, averaging 487 yards per game, 286 pass yards per game, which is 25th. 189 rush yards per game, which is 43rd. They are the 67th ranked defense, giving up they're 338 yards per game. They're allowing they're 16th in 197th ranked in pass defense, allowing 240 pass yards per game. They're 6th ranked in run defense, which is allowing 80 yards rushing per game. 100 and I think I've scratched something out. 140th in points allowed. Washington has the 16th overall ranked defense, 343 pass yards per game, which is first overall out of all college football teams. They are averaging 125 rushing yards per game, which is 188th. They have the 192nd ranked overall defense, allowing 263 passing yards per game, which is 245th, allowing 133 rushing yards per game, which is 86th. And they're allowing 178th in points allowed. Some big wins by these two teams. Only ranked wins. I'm sorry. Washington has Arizona. They beat Oregon twice. They beat Utah and Oregon State. Texas beat Kansas, Alabama, Kansas State, and Oklahoma State. I'm gonna take this one first. I honestly think we're going to see a very high-scoring game here. I really do. I mean, now Washington maybe is not. They can run the ball, but they're not a run-first team. Obviously, we're going to see a lot of passing, and with Texas pass defense being as suspect as it is, I can definitely see Michael Penix having a game of his life in this, in the college football playoff. I mean, he's probably coming out there with a chip on his shoulder. I didn't win the Heisman. I probably should have won the Heisman. So he's coming out straight fuck you mode. Like straight fuck you mode. Texas, on the other hand, you know how we both feel about Texas. I definitely think Texas is the more complete team out of the two. They have defense and they have offense. And they have something. I'm sure they have something to prove. Last year in the Big 12, they're obviously coming to the SEC next year. So I'm pretty sure they have the mindset with, this is our last year being in the Big 12. Y'all say we can't compete with SEC teams. This is our year to show that we can compete with some of the top teams in the country.
And if you're a Texas fan, you're gonna cry about, oh, we beat Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. Okay, we talking about a Georgia team that played the national championship game the year before. They didn't give a fuck about the Sugar Bowl. And then I'm sorry, but y'all had the easiest fucking path to the Big 12 championship game I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Ever seen in my life. Ever seen in my life. So say what you want. Oklahoma's just mad because they lost to Kansas and Oklahoma State. I'm just mad that we didn't decide to pass the ball for 2 whole fucking quarters. And if they call pass interference,
On
like they
Kansas
should
State.
have,
Yeah.
no, on Oklahoma State,
Yeah.
we could be very well talking about Oklahoma in the playoff right now. Which finish your thought.
No, you good, bro. Go ahead. It's your turn.
To me, this is, and I hate to say this shit, but it's true. This has the making of Texas beating the shit out of Washington. And I say this because their defense is fucking horrible. This is the worst defense. Yes, this is the worst defense in the playoffs. Their defense is god awful. That's why they've had so many they've won games by 2 and 3 and 4 points, 1 possession games, because they defense just simply kept teams in the game. And then at times their offensive line is terrible. And I don't want to jinx Michael Penix because I picked him. He was my dark horse Heisman winner, and damn it, he should have won. But he always throws about 1 to 3 passes where you like, what the fuck? What was that?
Yeah. Every
game. And I just hope those aren't the passes that end up being 2 or 3 picks and change the whole game. This really is really gonna come down to if Washington's offensive line is going to block, because the Texas secondary can get cooked.
Yeah.
Straight up, they can get cooked. If Washington's offensive line is going to block, and if the defense is their front seven can at least get a pass rush on Quinn Ewers. Because if you watch the Oklahoma game, you get a pass rush on Quinn Ewers, he's going to make mistakes.
He is. He's going to force the ball.
And often. So that's the key to success. The line of scrimmage for Washington. Because this is set up yet again for Texas to go ahead and get back to the national championship game, first time since 2009. So whatever.
I'm trying to put my football feelings aside, and the fact that I really feel like the NCAA is really pushing, for Texas to be the face of the NCAA again. I really don't want to see Texas in the national championship. I don't, because we gonna hear this, as we already gonna hear about them making the college football playoff until next season, but we never gonna fucking hear the end of it. But I feel like if Washington can do remote, just a little bit of what they was able to do to Oregon, they have a chance in this game. But they was able to force Bo Nix to make mistakes, no forced turnovers or whatever, and they were able to capitalize off a couple of those turnovers. So I feel like Washington, every time Washington touches the ball, they got to make it count. You got to get a field goal. You got to get a touchdown or a field goal out of it. And if you do get a turnover, you have to capitalize. You have to capitalize. If you have to capitalize, you have to keep the momentum you have to keep the momentum swinging your way. Because if you allow Quinn Ewers to get going, it's gonna be a long night for your fucking secondary and your defense. Plain and simple.
It's very, I hate to say this shit too, but it's the truth. It's very reminiscent of Oklahoma, right? High power offense, put up points, all this good stuff, no defense.
Yeah.
So it's really gonna come down to are these boys going to play some defense and get out the Quinn Ewers and make it a tough game for them? Because if you don't, it's going to be confetti falling, and you're going to be seeing that burn orange and hearing that Hookem bullshit and Matthew McConaughey and The Undertaker and all these other motherfuckers, man. So, I mean, Huskies, come on, man. Come on.
Please.
Come on, be a pack of wolves on that bull, man.
Please. Speaking of, bro, I'm off New Year. Of course, I'm off New Year's Day. Emma, that's on a Monday. Emma's off that day. So if you won't, y'all can come over. We probably gonna be doing something, but if y'all won't, y'all more than welcome to come over here. I'm gonna talk to her. I don't know what we gonna be doing that day. I'm gonna try to come over, but ain't no guarantees. If not, y'all more than welcome to come over and watch the games.
Get some lip chop.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You already know.